Hello, everybody. Adrian Blas here.
Yes, and Bridget, hello.
And if you listen carefully, you won't be able to tell which day it is, but I can tell you that today the rain fell in a way that I haven't heard rain fall for a very, very long time. I was sitting in the conservatory and I couldn't hear myself think, which is probably a good idea, but it battered down on the roof of the conservatory in a way I just haven't heard.
Which shows that it's spring in the UK. It's also what is it, Adrian?
Oh, I can't remember. Yes, I can, because one or two people have very kindly written to us to say that they know that today is our 300th birthday.
Oh no, I don't like that. That makes us sound so ancient. But it is true. 300 of these.
300 weeks, and before that,
63 days.
63 days.
And it was spring when we began.
Was it?
That's what's so interesting, because there was lockdown, and I was thinking, what an extraordinarily different spring, where there was so much solitude and so much quiet, and our streets were so quiet. And then I was reading something today, Adrian, about the situation in Tehran. It was just yesterday, actually, I was reading it, and it was quite a few young people, 20-year-olds, that sort of age, talking about what life is like now at the moment. And it was that same quiet, but it was a different sort of quiet. It was the sort of deathly quiet that comes with fear of walking out into the streets, fear of getting something wrong, people hiding in their homes and listening to bombs, and whatever the politics, even whatever triggered off this ghastly time, there are people surviving. And I'll tell you what it reminded me of, Adrian. It reminded me of Anne Frank, because if you remember in her diaries, it's all about normal things. And these little insights into people's lives were of the things you do to make it possible to endure. One girl was saying that she and her friend were talking about whether they were going to colour their hair a different colour when the war was over.
They thought maybe a lighter colour.
Yeah, and somebody else just talking about being able to go, there's their big festival coming up. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's something like Nowruz. I'm sure it's totally wrong, but it's celebrating spring. And normally, apparently, the streets are full of people buying sweets and nuts and having a really lovely time. And this is coming up in a completely different way.
I always remember your mother, when she was in our house and coming towards the end of her life, she said one of the only things she really felt sad about was she'd like to have seen just one more springtime.
Yeah.
And I can understand that, because I know it's a hackneyed parable, but it stands for something, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
Things grow out of the ground and become what they were supposed to be, even if they're only there for a short time.
Yeah.
And the
daffodils
come baiting their way through the earth.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember when we were in Queensland, Adrian, talking about how much we love the seasons, and how, although it was glorious being in Queensland, they didn't know about the seasons. And then I remember romanticising about spring a little bit, just a little bit, because when you think of it, it is all those lovely, lovely things, but actually the rain battering down on our roof is also a reminder that the beautiful flowers on us get flattened completely by wind and by rain in the UK. But nonetheless, yes, it's a special time.
I think I could almost have wanted to live in Australia if it hadn't been for the fact that, I think you do have a sort of seasonal change in some parts of the country.
Of course you do.
But,
of course you do, yes.
In the parts where we tended to go, that wasn't the case. And I think that, I know I get boring about this, but the period between May and June in England is just so sweet and lovely. I always want to go back to Sussex in May, towards the end of May, and moving into June because it's such a lovely feel there. But I think it feels a little bit at the moment like COVID. I went to sleep thinking about, well, our son and his wife fortunately have managed to leave that part of the Middle East where they were
at the moment,
and they're on a holiday that was planned.
Yeah.
And as they're there for 3 weeks, it may be that things change between now and then. But so I went to sleep with that on my mind, and I woke once again not wanting to see what the news was because I've had enough of it really.
It's well, we're all kind of living through it, but there was a very wise thing said by the Cardinal of Chicago, saying that there's a great danger that this particular war is being, I hope I get the words right, but gamified or something very similar to that. In other words, that it's almost like a computer game for a lot of people. And if you lose humanity, if you lose the idea that it's real children, real mothers, real fathers, real young people, like these young people I was reading about yesterday, then you lose some of your own humanity. And there is always a danger with something like this, that you can't hold it in your heart or your head or your memory or your thinking or your intelligence to try and keep up with what's really going on, and you switch off.
I suppose in a way we were quite privileged to go to some very poor countries. And when I say privileged, I mean that you never forget that. I mean, it sinks right down inside you. And that what you were saying about people waiting, waiting for something better to happen, something better to come along. We came across that often, and there were some great pioneers, people who were starting projects and ideas that would perhaps change lives for people. And they were the real heroes. There we sat clutching our little books marked A and B, ready to make notes for when we came back home.
Well, I think especially children. I mean, hope seems to be built into them, doesn't it? I don't know if it's a God-given thing that they. I don't mean they have short memories, but there's always something else happening, whether it's what they're having for tea, or it's a new game or a new something. They're always looking for new and always looking for hope. And I just got that feeling from these young people as well, that they haven't given up on hope. They are enduring. They are suffering. And I mean, my giddy aunt, we've seen it in images for the last few years now. In Israel, in Gaza, now in Iran and in Lebanon and in so many parts of the world where people are just having nightmares.
I remember talking to Hugo Green, who was a Jewish rabbi in the Reform movement, and sadly died now, but he was in Auschwitz and he was with his father in the prison camp, and he said that his father said, whatever else you do, you've got to remember the 12th commandment. And Hugo said, what is the 12th commandment? And his father said, you shall hope. He said, if you lose hope, you can die. It can knock you down so much that you give up. And as soon as you start to give up, everything falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, we've met in our lives many people, and some of them actually do listen to this. I know there's our banana hater in chief, who's sort of been alongside us for the last for these 300 episodes and before that, and listens with her mum. And physically, life is intolerable. But she's a poet, and she's alive, and always looking for something to stimulate her, something to so she can express herself. And I think she would love something today, because we were talking about, there was a poem you wrote, Adrian, during COVID, which was Life Without Handshakes, right?
Yeah.
And it was written then about then. But I was saying to you the other day that I think it was Life Before Limericks. And over the last couple of years, or not as long as that maybe, but you do enjoy writing a limerick, don't you, Adrian?
Well, I do. It's a little bit like, I was thinking the other day, it's a bit like a Rubik's Cube trying to write a limerick. But it's a Rubik's Cube that has no finished content. It has a form, which is very prescribed, but it does become a bit of a thing.
Well,
yes.
I mean, this is for our chief banana hater, but
Yes.
it's also for other people who have been so wonderfully loyal to us
Yeah.
and hanging on in with us during some very strange times. And my goodness, they have been strange times, haven't they? Over the last 300 weeks and before that. So are you going to?
Well, we have a lot of people who write, actually, and which we love. This particular person, she always listens with her mum.
Yeah,
And it's Mothering Sunday coming up. And
absolutely.
those who haven't had good experience with parents will have something else to say about it. But I thank God that she is a wonderful mother, and she had a very wonderful father.
Yeah.
And I'm so thank God for that. I just thought you might like to hear one or two of the things that I haven't read, because they're reasonably recent.
I don't think I've heard them all, and I'm quite sure that our friends in Australia and Germany and elsewhere haven't heard them, so off you go.
Well, we can inflict them on them whether they like it or not. Well, one of them is when Jesus is in the boat and he's fallen asleep, and the disciples are panicking because the storm has come and they're wondering what's going to happen, and they have no faith really based on anything else that's happened. So I guess this was just thinking of, well, first of all, Jesus being asleep after doing a load of stuff. And did he dream? And he must have done. And if he did, what did he dream of? And how did he feel? So this was my idea about that. Lifting my hand from the plough, I rest in what love will allow. Cozied by pillows, rocked by the billows, I'm almost at Bethany now.
And of course, Bethany was his I don't know, his home really, wasn't it? I know it
Sort of
wasn't
second
his home,
home,
but it
yeah,
was his place where he could be with his
Well, there were
friends.
two sisters, one of whom would bark at him, one of whom would sit at his feet and listen, and that's kind of good, isn't it?
And their
Yeah.
brother Lazarus, and you always got the feeling that when he was there, he was safe and he could laugh and he could be himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he could tell off Martha, and he could joke with them, and I don't know. Well, he did bring Lazarus back to life, so I suppose that's a bit special. But I suspect if you asked him, he'd say, "Oh, come on, that was just a job. What about all the times when I just was there?" And that's, I think, one of the reasons that we've enjoyed doing these things, to just feel we're there with people who listen.
Yeah,
It's a funny old
absolutely.
thing, really. But it has been lovely, hasn't it? And we haven't finished, have we?
No,
I think there will be a 301.
No, we'll definitely do 301. I might do some others. as
Anyway,
well.
come on then, let's have...
Oh, okay then. Well, this involves a bit of French, but I'm sure we'll survive. I asked God, politely, to say why he came on that first Christmas day. He said, I'd suggest that the French put it best. To comprendre, c'est tout pardonner. Which means, even with my limited knowledge of French, it's a famous French saying, to understand all is to forgive all. And
I mean,
something about the
sorry.
idea that he thought, I want to go and see what it's like. I want to know how it feels to be there.
Yeah, I mean, we use an expression, don't we, you know, to walk in somebody else's shoes. And you said about some of the trips that we made. I mean, it was just a glimpse. It was on the edge of, but even so, to understand was to just be there. And if you like, to walk in someone else's shoes, even if it was just for a day or a few days. And that's what I think we need to be trying to do with the situation we're in now in the world, that we need to put ourselves there in our imaginations so we don't get separated from it and even become quite angry. And well, I feel angry, I'm sure a lot of people feel angry, but I mean just separate in order to keep ourselves intact and in order to be able to enjoy our dinners. I don't know.
I don't know what to do about it. It's so frustrating on one level, for very specific reasons, as everybody knows. Well, here's two that I don't know what they mean, so not really, but I will read them. And they just kind of sprung into my head at one point. And by that, I do not mean that they were given to me by anybody. I mean they just are there.
I don't know.
And this was it. God, are you crying tonight? If you are, that's okay. It's all right. We face the same fears. We shed the same tears when our children step out of the light. God, are you smiling today? If you are, all is well. It's okay. That smile on your face is the wellspring of grace. Lets us weep, lets us laugh, lets us play.
I think this is something a lot of people might not say was part of their experience, and I'm not even sure it is of mine, Adrian, but you have a deep sadness and sympathy for God. Is that right? I mean, it's very unusual.
I think I do. Whether that makes any sense or not is another matter.
Well, it's okay. It's you.
I think, but probably because the church has turned things upside down, and I know I keep saying that, and I'll say it again. That the whole idea of the whole Jesus thing is his idea. It's based on what he wants, not what we want. There's a line in a Lewis poem where he says, "I've left the forest where you're pursued in vain, and going to the place where you pursue." And the idea that God pursues us is very difficult for many of us to handle, I think. And I can't believe there is not a great substance of pain and laughter and wanting the best and all those.
I mean, we're told that we're created in his image, and humour and wit and warmth and kindness.
But
and
he must also
all
be
the things.
very irritable if he's made in my image.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, now and then, anyway.
Yeah.
Now and then. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've probably got time for another one.
More. Right. Okay. Right. This is a bit of an obsession with me at the moment. No, I won't. I'll do this one. Today, at this time, in this space, the word is translated by grace. Love is bespoke, a rebuke or a joke. My spirit, my words, my embrace.
I know that's absolutely central to what you're feeling at the moment and thinking and have been for a while. I mean, can I ask you to unpack that a little bit, Adrian?
Well, I think, we know somebody who was very well known in the Christian world at one time, who went to speak to a group of people who spent their lives trying to get the Bible to people. And he began I think slightly foolishly, by throwing a Bible on the floor.
Oh yes, to make the point that
Well, yeah, he had a good point to make.
which was that
the Bible without grace, without
Yes.
love, without consideration is just a book with
Yeah.
stuff in it, with
Yeah.
no words on
didn't quite have that
on,
effect,
on
did it?
paper. And there are still people who will say, but this is the word of God. And I think what the Jesus, the Holy Spirit, God would say is, yes, it is, but it's more than that. It's this when it is translated and cozied by the love that comes with it.
Yeah,
And the idea that love is bespoke, that
yeah,
the thing that is given or helps one person will be completely different from another.
well, and the thing that you need to hear today will be very different from the thing you might need to hear in a few weeks' time.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah.
so the bespokeness is for us as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah.
Anyway, it'd be nice just to finish, wouldn't it, by just saying to the chief banana hater, you wrote to us this week. Thank you so much. You're not able to write that often, but we do appreciate it, and we do hope you and your mum are having a lovely time together. At
Yeah,
the moment.
and just thank you to the people who do keep writing to us.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, if you knew how lovely it was. We're sorry we don't always write back, or not a lot, but anyway. And we will do 301 next
Yeah.
week.
Absolutely. See you next week. Bye bye.